RESA TV presents in 3, 2, 1, Dateline Schools with your host, Terry Harrington.
Well, this week on Dateline Schools, we're talking about behavior of our students in the local schools and what we're doing to help improve that behavior. And to tell us all about it, my special guest is RESA's behavior specialist, Joe Zima. And Joe, Monday and Tuesday, you gave us a pretty good picture of what you guys are working with and experiencing. So how are the schools going after this problem to help these kids so they can be successful in school and whatever they choose to do?
So a couple of things that we're doing. One of the things that we're doing is helping to provide support for some of our intensive students. In the schools, that's a couple of things. That's having a good behavior assessment. So schools can often do that on their own or work with us to do that behavior piece. We're helping to put in behavior intervention plans. So very few, 2-3 specific strategies we can put in place for those students. And then another crucial component of that is what does the data look like? So some of these aggressive students do get better with interventions, but it happens very slowly over time. So we see that number decreasing. I mentioned the young man previously in the week that we're working with in October. That behavior is coming down just slightly until the point now, March, April, we're able to start mainstreaming that student into a regular general ed classroom. So it does take several months of applying those interventions. And without that data, without some kind of measurement, we don't typically know if it's working. So those are some of the strategies that we're starting to put in place.
I know another area that you're really been involved with and you're excited to bring to St. Clair County is the restorative justice program. Start talking about that a little bit.
Yeah, restorative justice. I mean, if you look, restorative justice started as a criminal justice intervention, and when you look at the criminal justice system, there's really kind of two types of interventions. One is retribution. What law was broken, who did it, and what are we going to do to that person? Restorative justice looks at how was the community harmed, who was all involved in that, and how are we going to make that right? One of the examples that comes to mind is a student that assaulted a teacher, and typically in that retributive model, we would suspend the student out of school 3-5 days. He would come back. What we learned really quickly was there was a lot of harm caused to not only the student but the teacher as well. We met with her. She was crying. She was upset even days later. So we had to have that restorative conference, kind of that mediation between the student and the teacher. What's the restitution going to look like? How are we going to make this right? The student ended up writing an apology letter and actually co-teaching a lesson with that teacher in the classroom, so he could kind of experience what she felt, the embarrassment, what it was like to be in front of the class and kind of deal with some of these issues. So that was kind of the restorative work that came out of that particular example. But probably one of the better examples of what restorative justice is. How do we actually fix what happened versus merely sending the student home and bringing them back without any further intervention?
More tomorrow for Dateline Schools. I'm Terry Harrington.